Now, the story's a murder mystery, which we all love,
yeah.
but it's also set with the backdrop of a social political.
Yes, it's not so much political as a social thing. I mean, Australia, like a lot of the New World, like in America, it was inhabited by all these people when we arrived, and we set out to get rid of them one way or another. And they didn't all die. We ended up with a lot of those people becoming very much a part of our society, including the director of this picture, Ivan Sen. And so it's set in a world in the outback of Australia. It's not just true of the outback, where there is this tense undercurrent. The closest thing to this film in a lot of ways is a film made some time ago called The Heat of the Night. And if you reference The Heat of the Night, you'll see this tension between the black detective in this white community, predominantly white community, and what it means to be this person. So there is this quite tense level of that. I think that for an audience outside Australia, it's going to be quite remarkable to be aware of that. In Australia, of course, like in America, the attitude to the Native Americans is the underlying current. Even black Americans have an attitude toward Native Americans that is very different. It's like they're less than. They're somehow the remnants of something else. In fact, not that long ago, it was their country. In Australia, and I'm involved quite a lot with the Indigenous people in Australia. There is, in fact, a Jack Thompson Foundation where we teach the people of the remote communities the skills required to build their own houses. And they have a saying, once was, always will be, Aboriginal land.
And with regards to Aboriginal, the director, Ivan, is part Aboriginal as well.
Indeed.
And for you, as an actor, you look for truth in the story and in performance. So having somebody with that background, does that bring a greater integrity to the story?
An extraordinary integrity, and not just an integrity, but a recognition of how to, because he's a very good filmmaker, a recognition of how to tell that story as a subtext. This isn't a piece that delivers a political or socio-political message. It doesn't say this should be changed, this is a terrible truth and ought to be changed. He tells this detective story, and just below the surface there is this tension that runs all the way through it.
And with regards to him, as you said, a filmmaker, he encompasses everything, doesn't he? He's the cinematographer, he's the writer, he's the director, the editor. How does that affect you as a performer? Is that helps?
Well, in Ivan's case, I'd seen some of his previous work, and when you take a look at the list of actors who are in this, you know, from the lead through to the smallest role, we're all actors who have worked for a long time and in many films, and we've all said yes to Ivan's piece because we've seen Ivan's work. It's beautiful work as a director, beautiful work as a cinematographer, as a filmmaker, and his writing provides you every role, the smallest role, has this wonderful arc. Every piece is worth playing.
And for you, what was it about the particular part that you're playing that you particularly connected to?
I've met this man before, and I suppose Ivan has. And he knew who this man was. He'd written about him. When I spoke to Ivan later, I said, I just love this man. I had met this man before, and he said, you know what, Jack? I think he's a ghost.